Stress can have both a positive and a negative effect on cattle. Much like taking your children to the doctor for their annual vaccines, inducing that level of stress in an environment in which cattle are processed through a chute is a positive outcome for those animals. The concern with stress is when that amount of stress is prolonged. Prolonged stress can cause the immune system to be compromised and ultimately allow that animal to be more susceptible to disease. Cattle stress starts with management. Ultimately, the ability of that producer or veterinarian or stockman to handle those animals in a very non-stressful manner, utilizing various techniques that are available, helps in minimizing the amount of stress, but then also optimizing their cattle handling facilities and processes within those cattle processing facilities will optimize and subsequently reduce the amount of stress that those animals do incur. The evaluation of animal health in food animals is difficult, admittedly, simply because these are animals that are innately wired to exhibit the predator-prey mentality, and so they view the human producer or veterinarian or stockman as a predator, and subsequently do not convey clinical disease until they are at a point where the level of clinical disease is beyond what they can hide. The ability of the human to identify clinical disease in cattle specifically is admittedly behind the eight ball. Because that animal is innately wired to convey the predator-prey mentality, they're very adept at concealing disease. Once that animal is at a state of disease in which they can no longer hide diseases, when we generally are able to observe that. But again, we are usually catching them several days within the disease process before we can administer treatment. And so Merck Animal Health is looking at a number of ways in which we can identify animals sooner in the disease process. Currently, with regard to bovine respiratory disease, you still need a clinical observer to identify animals that we feel have bovine respiratory disease. Once we get them to the chute, the whisper technology is a new technology available through Merck Animal Health in order to confirm that diagnosis, and also allow that veterinarian or producer to administer or strategically administer therapy in a more opportune time. To get more information about animal handling, producers should first contact your veterinarian. To gather more information about whisper, please contact Merck Animal Health at 1-800-521-5767.